it's still probably too early. The visit marks 65 years of relations, and Xi Jinping was definitely well received with all of the fanfare one might expect, and perhaps even a bit more. He and his wife got to enjoy a rare 21-gun salute. Then the Chinese president gave a short speech in which he referred to the two countries as friendly next-door neighbors with similar political systems, similar development paths, and intertwined futures. But it's impossible to ignore the timing and context of all of this. Last year, relations between China and Vietnam hit their lowest point in years. Anti-China riots broke out in various cities in Vietnam and Beijing. This was after Beijing moved an oil rig into waters claimed by Hanoi. The demonstrators specifically targeted factories with foreign investment, i.e. Chinese money. 3 Chinese nationals were killed. China had to evacuate thousands of its workers from Vietnam. Again, this was just last year. Now, we know this visit was supposed to focus on cooperation in areas like trade, education, and infrastructure. There were 12 bilateral agreements signed, but no doubt the need to mend fences was the driving force, and the two sides agreed to, quote, manage disagreements in order to preserve stability on the seas. Asier?
And Roy, Vietnam's leader, of course, was here in Washington over the summer. Historic indeed, but some have suggested it was perhaps a sign that Hanoi may be pivoting towards the U.S.
Well, you know, no doubt Chinese officials were closely watching that visit and that relationship. Nguyen Phu Trong became the first Vietnamese communist leader to visit the U.S., and he was welcomed at the White House. John Kerry, the American Secretary of State, and Ash Carter, the U.S. Defense Secretary, each of them visited Hanoi over the summer. And some observers suspect U.S. President Barack Obama may make a surprise stop there when he's in the region later this month. The U.S. also played a big part in luring Vietnam into the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP, which some view as a counterbalance to China's economic clout in the region. Now, this may indeed be an economic tug-of-war that we're seeing. 20 years ago, U.S. exports to Vietnam stood at less than $200 million. Now, they are close to $6 billion. So Beijing is still Vietnam's biggest vendor, if you will. More than a quarter of all imports coming into the country come from China. And Asier, as we know, for Beijing, that's not really a share of the pie that it appears keen to lose.